What's up, everybody? Ça va? Ça va bien? Ça va bien et tout? Ah, muy bien. Muy bien y ti. ¿Y tú? Ita? ¿Cómo estás? Wie gehen Sie? Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of I'm Reviewing here, a podcast where I, Matthew Bussey, watch and review science sounds top greatest movies of all time. Hi, everybody. Let me just do it one more time. Hi, everybody. And I'm not going to do it one more time. I haven't even had a sip of my tea yet, and I'm already, I feel like I'm on crack, cocaine, and every single drug possible right now. And it's still January when I'm recording this, which means I have not had a sip of alcohol all month long. It feels so good. I just want to encourage everybody to try this. January. This is not coming out in January, but it doesn't need to be dry. It doesn't need to be dry January. Make it dry April, dry June, dry May. Maybe not dry May because that's Memorial Day and that's a fun weekend to get a lot of alcohol on you and party. And the flag. I love the color red and the flag. So I don't know. What is your favorite flag? Well, this is kind of crazy because my favorite flag is actually Japan's flag because it's so easy. And I like that. I like easy. And I love the Moroccan flag. And I'm going to Morocco this summer, which I will not shut up about. So no mean comments. I'm going. Shut up in that I'm I keep talking about it. Because I'm excited. I have a right to be excited. Even though when my, latest credit card statement came in, I did kind of shit myself a little bit because of how much I'm spending this year. But it's all worth it. YOLO, Ying Lang, Wingding, oh God, that sounds so racist. I wasn't trying to be racist. I swear to God, I was just speaking gibberish. No, Japan. Why is it a coincidence? Well, Japan, the movie today that I'm reviewing, is Japanese. And it's by a very proclaimed Japanese director. Now, Japan is incredible. They're incredible, in the cinematic sense, that's what I mean. There are two Japanese directors who are considered the best that film critics will revere until the end of time. It's Akira Kurosawa and Yasujirō Ozu. Akira Kurosawa and Yasujirō Ozu. Now, today's film is an Ozu film. Kurosawa is coming up. He has a lot of incredible movies, and so does Ozu. Now, they're both very different directors. Recent directors that you may know of that you should go and see are, oh God, and of course, I'm not checking this right now because I didn't make a note of it. Of course I'm not doing that. What's this? Oh, there was a director named Hirokazu Koreeda. Hirokazu, that's his first name. He's a Japanese director, and he is so good. He had a movie that came out last year called Monster. No, it's not about prostitutes who kill their johns. It is a movie so freaking moving. It is like a mystery. It is like a family drama. It's one of the best movies I've seen all year, and it's Japanese. Yeah, go watch a Japanese movie. They are so powerful and moving, and the writing is so good. I mean, in most of them. I don't spend my days watching Japanese movies, but Asian movies in general. Is this my first Asian movie? No, it's not. I thought it was for a second. I'm this is episode 67? Yeah, of course. Today's movie, though, is very different. Today's movie is the last movie that Ozu directed. I'm going to talk a lot about Ozu because I have a lot to say about this man. Not bad things, but this was his last movie. Ozu actually died a year later on his birthday, and this movie came out in 1962. And let's just get to it. It is called An Autumn Afternoon. Take a listen, or else. Just kidding. No, take a listen.
母なき娘にかける父の愛情と夢が抱きかえられるような感情の中に繰り広げられゆくドラマ「さんまの味」。
何？
お父さんね、余計なことだったかもしれないけど、三浦君がお前のことどう思ってるか兄さんから聞いてもらったんだよ。
俺にしたってお前が三浦を好きだなんてことまるで気がつかなかったしな。
いやお父さんがうっかりしてたことが一番いけなかったんだ。すまなかった。
いいのよお父さん、そんならいいの。私後で後悔したくなかっただけなの。聞いてもらってよかったわ。
そうかい。
嫁ぐ日近き娘心の微妙さと限りなく深い父の愛情の推移を描いて
いくら借りたの？
5万円。
余計に借りたからってそんなものに使えないわよ。
金は後でいいんだ。三浦の友達がね、新しいのを買ってね。
私だって欲しいものあんのよ。それを我慢してるのに自分だけ勝手に。何さ。
庶民生活の世界を背景に人生の喜びと悲しみをユーモラスなタッチの中に織り込み、人々の善意を静かに見つめ、人生の流れを克明に綴る。
先生どうです？もう一つ。
あんた方は幸せだ。私は寂しいよ。
何がです？何が寂しいんです？
いやー、寂しいんじゃ。悲しいよ。結局人生一人じゃ。一人ぽっちですわ。
まあいいじゃないですか。一つ行きましょう。
映画界の至宝小津安二郎監督が全生命的意欲を持って送る松竹映画が最高のスケールによって隙のない演技陣を駆使し、良き脚本の協力者野田光吾と共同執筆になる待望久しき人間愛のドラマ。格調高き小津芸術の感動の巨編、さんまの味。
And of course, I made tea and thought it was a good idea to try to drink tea while recording this episode because I'm dumb. Hold on, I just gotta take a sip. Sorry, I slurped. I wish you all could see my mug. It's a Halloween Michael Myers mug that I got in Palm Springs. Anyway, let me move the squeaker. Hold on. Okay, and let's get started, shall we? So, yes, an autumn afternoon. First of all, before I get into the description or the plot synopsis, I'm going to do my best to pronounce the characters' names. I really am doing my best. I went on Google and, you literally type in a name and then add pronunciation, and there are a whole ton of sites that come up. It is freaking crazy. The internet and what you can do with it. Anyway, so I am going to do my best. If I offend anyone and I say a name wrong, I'm really, really sorry. I have to say this because, it's like cancel culture 101 over here in the world in the 21st century, and I'm not trying at all to offend anybody. I really, really don't. I also, love Japanese and Mandarin and Korean and, all the languages and the films, and they are just so... I could lose myself in these languages, these foreign languages, when they talk. I don't know a word of Japanese or Mandarin or anything. That's actually not true. I thought I knew Japanese, but they're beautiful languages. I say I think I know Japanese because I humiliated myself on Christmas Eve because I went to a party and a very old family friend of mine, well, he's only a few years older, but he has a daughter, and his daughter is Japanese. She's 5 years old. She's so cute. She is literally like a scientist on the inside and a child on the outside. She literally speaks more elegantly than I do, and she speaks fluent Japanese. And I told her, I said, oh my God, well, wait, I watched this thing on TV once, and I think I know how to say, where's the bathroom in Japanese? And she went, okay, say it. And I said, okay, tode wa togo desu ka? And then she just looked at me and just went, I don't know, that's not Japanese. I don't know what you're saying. And I was like, oh. And she was like, where did you hear that? I was like, SNL? But Scarlett Johansson said it when she was hosting SNL, and she did a movie, Lost in Translation, with Bill Murray, very famous, which is set in Tokyo, which is in Japan, which means that it's Japanese. Anyway, I didn't say it right. Okay. Let's get to this movie. I'm sorry. Anecdote. Okay. An autumn afternoon. Did I like it? Yes. Did I love it? No. This is a very, very slow movie. Like, chitter chatter, talking, very, very not undramatic, long scenes of dialogue where the camera literally cuts from one actor to the other actor, from one actor to the other actor. Ozu wrote this movie with screenwriter Kogo Noda, and I've seen one other Ozu film. It was way back in college. He did a movie called Late Spring, which is very, very famous. He also did another movie called Tokyo Story, also very famous. And honestly, I can't remember which one I saw, if it was Late Spring or Tokyo Story, because they were very similar, I think, and they were only released a few years apart. I think I watched Late Spring. It came out in 1949, and I remember watching it on like a Friday in my like 4-hour film class, and I think I fell asleep. I'm sorry. It's kind of the same thing. Ozu loves to just film dialogue forever. You know, it's very, very, very theatrical in the sense that it is just, you know, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just dialogue. But there's no action. There's no like physical action or there are no like heated moments where the dialogue gets really intense, and you know the movies are like G-rated, you know, like they're so anticlimactic. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, everybody talks about, I remember when Drive My Car came out a few years ago. It's a Japanese movie. It's 3 hours long, and it won Best Foreign Language Film. It was nominated for, like, Best Director and Best Picture, and it was huge. But it is kind of the same thing as this. It's all talking. No action whatsoever. And you know what? That movie blew me away. I was so incredibly moved by that movie. And I see a lot of inspiration in from movies like An Autumn Afternoon and Drive My Car, because this is the type of movie that you're meant to sit, watch every single frame, read every single subtitle, listen to every single thing that every character says, and, you know, feel an emotional connection to everybody and everything. Did it work for me? The first time, no. I kind of sort of rewatched this. I say kind of sort of because I skimmed through a few scenes, but I did watch it skim through it a second time, and yes, I did like it. I do really like it. I think this is just not really a movie for me. I don't think it's a movie for a lot of people. I've read a lot of reviews where everybody kind of applauds the movie for just being so gentle and serene and beautiful, and it is. It is. I just wasn't as moved, I think, as other critics continue to be by this movie all these years later. And a lot of Ozu's other films, too. Ozu is a director, like I said, who I can't get very connected with the slow pace of it all. You know, slow movies, you have to be in the right mindset. You know, you really, really do. You have to be in the right head mindset, okay? And even if you are in the right head mindset, sometimes they still just don't really stick with you as much as you wish they did. So, like, this is a beautifully done movie. It is very moving in the end, but I kind of forgot about it. I'm sorry.
Plot synopsis.
Japan, Tokyo is also on my freaking bucket list before I die, and I almost was going to go this summer, but it is like $5,000 for like 4 days to live there, to you know, vacation there. It's so insane, but I just want to go there. I want to go to Tokyo! Oh my god! It's on my bucket list. On my bucket list. If anybody who is Japanese is listening to this, please send me messages in Japanese and teach me how to say I want to go to Tokyo now, because I really do want to learn how to say it. Tode wa togo desu ka? I am fully confident that means where's the bathroom. Okay, little girl, you were lying. I was telling the truth. I'm just kidding. Okay, plot synopsis, An Autumn Afternoon. Here we go. The setting, Tokyo, the year 1962. Shuhei Hirayama, he is played by actor Chishu Ryu. Yes, I said that right. Okay, I did. I had to stop for a second. Now, Ryu was in a lot of Ozu's films. He was like his muse, basically. Shuhei Hirayama is an aging widower with a 32-year-old married son, Kochi, and 2 unmarried children, 24-year-old daughter, Michiko, and 21-year-old son, Kazuo. So there's Kochi, who's married, Michiko, and Kazuo, who are younger, in their 20s and not married yet. The ages of the children and what they respectively remember about their mother suggests that she died just before the end of the war, perhaps in the bombing of Tokyo in 1945. How was that one bombing? Sorry, Wikipedia is not a good example. Not a good summary there. Yeah, but that is true. You don't really know what happens to the mom and what happened to the mother in this, but she's not in it. And it's kind of implied that, she died in the war, which is really sad. And since his marriage, Kochi, the eldest son, he's moved out to live with his wife in a small flat, leaving Hirayama and Kazuo to be looked after by Michiko. So Michiko, she's 24, but she's very, she's kind of like the matriarch of the household. She kind of takes care of, the youngest, her younger brother, Kazuo. He's like a kid, basically, 21. I still feel like you're a kid when you're 21, in my opinion. And, the father, who's just kind of older and, sadder and nice guy, but, he needs to be looked after. Hirayama and 5 of his classmates from middle school, oh boy, here we go. Kawae, Hori, Suge, Watanabe, and Nakanishi, all right, I think I got it, hold regular reunions at a restaurant called Wakamatsu, which is owned by Suge. Is it Sugai or Suge? Fuck, I forgot to check his name. I'm sorry. They reminisce about old times and banter with each other. For example, Hori is teased about having a new young wife and asked whether he is taking pills to maintain his virility. Yeah, that kind of surprised me in the movie. There's a lot of do you still get a boner? Like a lot of jokes like that. A lot of boner jokes in this, which I didn't really expect because, 1962. But, this is not an American movie. It's a an Asian movie. A lot of international movies, they pushed the boundaries a little bit more because Hollywood was so religious. Anyway, they're all, okay, so yeah, these are his friends, Hirayama, and his friends. They're all buddies. They get drunk all the time. They drink a lot of sake. Oh, God. Weird twist of events just there. I'm not drinking this month. I said sake, which is an alcoholic drink, and I just choked on my drool. They like to hang out a lot, and they talk about, their wives, or if they don't have wives, and they talk about dating. And the main big topic is Michiko. How can they get her married? That's like the top conversation everywhere is, Hirayama, your daughter needs to get married. We have to get her married, So it's constant. That's like all they talk about. Now, the guy's old teacher of Chinese classics, Sakuma, nicknamed Hyotan, which translates as the gourd, Gourd. Gourd is like a type of fruit, I think, in Tasmania, I think. I don't know. It's like an Asian plant fruit thing. Sakuma, who's the gourd, he attends one of the I can't do this. He attends one of the reunions. We learned from a remark of his that Hirayama went from school to the Imperial Japanese Naval Academy, so he would have been a career naval officer up to 1945. Yeah, a little backstory. Sakuma has too much to drink, and when Kawae and Hirayama take him home, they find that he has fallen on hard times and is running a cheap noodle restaurant in a working class area. Yeah, this part's kind of sad. They meet his middle-aged daughter, Tomoko, who missed the chance to marry when young and is now too old. So Hirayama kind of sees this and is like, I don't want my daughter to end up like that. I don't want to end up like that. This is kind of like a message of, this is what could happen unless, things change. Sakuma's former pupils decide to help him out with a gift of money, and Hirayama goes back to the restaurant to hand it over. While he is there, Yoshitaro Sakamoto, the owner of a small local car repair shop, comes in for a bowl of noodles and recognizes Hirayama as the captain of the ship in which he served as a petty officer during the war. He takes Hirayama to his favorite bar. Hirayama notices that the bar owner, Kaoru, I think I'm saying that right, resembles his dead wife. Kaoru puts on a recording of the patriotic song Warship March. This part was kind of funny. And Sakamoto marches up and down, holding a salute and singing meaningless symbols in time to the music, and a mocking version of military drill. Later, Hirayama visits the bar alone, and Kaoru puts the record on again. Two tipsy customers begin to parody the kind of morale-boosting radio propaganda announcements that would have been introduced by this tune during the war. Kochi, remember he's the oldest son, he borrows 50,000 yen from his father, ostensibly to buy a refrigerator, but this is more than the refrigerator will cost. He plans to use the extra money to buy a set of second-hand golf clubs from his colleague, Miura. His wife, Akiko, does not want him to do so, and I love her in this, and says that if he's going to indulge himself like this, she will spend money on an expensive white leather handbag. Eventually, having made her point, she relents. So she kind of is like having none of his BS in this movie. Akiko is like Kochi comes in and is literally like, hey, wife, make me dinner. And she's the type of wife who's like, I'm not going to do it. You do it. You came in late, tongue out. Like, she's kind of like that, which is, I love her in this. Yeah, she's great. The Gourd tells his former pupils that it is because he selfishly kept her at home to look after him that his daughter is now condemned to a lonely life as a spinster. Troubled by this, Hirayama recognizes his own selfishness in keeping Michiko at home to look after him and decides to arrange a marriage for her. He asks Kochi to find out if Miura, who Michiko is fond of, is interested. Unfortunately, Miura is already engaged. Kochi and Hirayama break the news to Michiko. Michiko does not react but retires to her room. This part's kind of sad. Hirayama and Kochi conclude that she is not upset, but a little later, Kazuo comes in and asks why Michiko is crying. Hirayama later asks Michiko if she is willing to go for a matchmaking session with a candidate Kawai has selected. Michiko agrees. Such a good scene. And one of the ellipses that Ozu, the director, is famous for, I don't know this. Again, I don't remember Late Spring or the other movie, which I forget already if I saw that in college, but apparently this is what he's famous for. Ellipses. The film next shows us Michiko being dressed in a traditional wedding kimono and headdress. She has clearly agreed to marry, but the bridegroom and the wedding ceremony are never shown in this film. I don't think there's any meaning to that, but we shall see. After the wedding, Hirayama goes to a bar with friends while Kochi, Akiko, and Kazuo wait for him at home. When he returns, drunk, Kochi and Akiko leave. Kazuo goes to bed, leaving Hirayama by himself. In the final scene, a melancholy Hirayama drunkenly sings snatches of the Warship March. His last words in the film are, alone, eh? The end.
ねえ、奥さん。やっぱり子供は男の子ですな。
そうですね。
いやー、女の子はつまらん。
そりゃ女だって男だって同じだよ。いずれはみんなどっかへ行っちゃうんだ。
で、年寄りだけが残るのか。
お前言うとこないよ。
いや、俺だって娘嫁にやったよ。
いやー、育てがいのないもんだ。
本当ですね。
ひょうたんもそう言ってたじゃないか。結局人生は一人ぼっちですわって。お前ひょうたんにならなくてよかったよ。
ひょうたんか。俺死刑しよ
う。帰るのか？
死刑する。
大丈夫ですか？自動車呼びましょうか？
いや、奥さん、今日は本当にご迷惑なことをお願いしたい。おい、すまなかったな。
おい、大丈夫か？
大丈夫。駅までブラブラ歩いていくよ。
俺も一緒に行こうか。
いや、いい。お前残ってろ。
こちら平山さんのですか？
いや、それは僕んだ。
いや、どうも。じゃあ、四季。
どうだい？
どうしたんだよ、あいつ。
一人になりたかったんだろう。寂しいんだよ。娘が嫁に行っちゃった晩なんて嫌なもんだからな。
そうだね。
せっかく育てたやつをやっちゃうんだからな。あっけないもんだよ。
Okay, so like that scene that you just heard, that tone, that the way that they speak, the music, that is all of An Autumn Afternoon. That's what you kind of have to expect when you go in. Now, I'm not recommending this movie. I'm just saying you have to kind of, oh God, what's the word? You have to like brace yourself a little bit for this type of movie, you know? You do. That's why, I didn't love it the first time I saw it. But overall, this is a very moving film. Now, I think, why didn't I love it? Well, yes, it's slow. It is slow. Just no other explanation. It's slow. It's not going to be for everybody. I didn't really feel like Michiko had a big character arc in this film. Now, I get it. She's not really meant to be. This isn't really a movie about her relationship with her father. That's not like the core theme of this film. I think also from what I remember, whether it was Late Spring or Ozu's other film, which I can't remember, they're very, very similar. One of those films is literally this film. It's literally about a father, an aging father, trying to get his younger daughter, who he loves very much, married off so that she'll be happy and he'll be happy. They're very, very similar, but a little bit different. So I think that's also why I kind of was hoping that this movie would be a little bit, I don't know, like the story would be a little bit different. But that's also not fair for me to say because, again, I don't remember Ozu's other movies that well. And I know that they're on this list. So I am really looking forward to, rewatching them. I think those are the main things. I kind of felt like Michiko was just not really a voice in this movie. And felt a little long. There were a lot of characters. I feel like things didn't really get cleared up by the end of this movie, because it is a character drama and it is about life. It is a very humanistic film. I don't know. I think like in re-skimming it, I won't say rewatch, in re-skimming it and in reading up a lot about it, this is overall a movie about very disillusioned people after World War II, after Japan's involvement in the war. I think that is a big core part of this film. Everybody is just trying to move on with their lives and kind of like fit in with the status quo, and it doesn't always work. And it's sad. It's sad. I've kind of reviewed a lot of movies like this, and we read about them in history books all the time about how back then, for so long, the core purpose of life was to just basically get born. And then after, by the time you're like, I don't know, like 18 or whatever, get married, the end. And have kids, the end. Like, that's kind of like the only reason to live, and it's sad. It's sad. And now things have, well, in a lot of countries they've changed, in a lot of countries they haven't changed. But, I think right now it's safer for us to have these conversations and say, well, it doesn't need to be like that. You can go to college and you don't need to get married right away. It's not 1962 anymore. I mean, it's, so it is sad. It is kind of like the melancholy thing about this film that is very moving overall. I felt bad for everybody in this film. I even felt bad for Kochi, the son, the eldest son, because he doesn't treat his wife respectfully at all, but they're not in love, and I don't think he knows how to get out of this situation because he just hasn't really been taught how to get out of this type of situation. He hasn't really, none of the guys or the women really know what to do in this film, so there's a lot to take in here. There really is. I think the other thing too was that, Hirayama, Shuhei, the main character, Hirayama, I think what kind of surprised me was that I expected him to be the main character in this film and for it to really strictly be about him. Like there's a movie that's going to be coming up many episodes from now. There's a Kurosawa movie called Ikiru, which also features an elderly man, and he's very sad, and he, doesn't really smile, and you feel bad, and you kind of want to give him a hug and say it's going to get better, but it's kind of not because he's lonely. It's kind of similar in that sense, but that movie really focuses on the lead, and in this film, I feel like Hirayama isn't really the main character. I feel like there isn't really one main character in this film. Now, is that a bad thing? No, not at all. I think, in general, this does come together very, very nicely. It is a very sweet, bittersweet, but kind of sad look at just what war does to people, what culture does to people, what the status quo does to people, and it's a bittersweet movie, but it's also kind of I think a little bit of a heartbreaking film in a way, Yeah, I think that's kind of the best way to describe this movie. Bitterly felt. BTS Secrets and Scandals! Not really that... Sorry, my ear is itchy. Not too many secrets with this film. Or secrets, what am I talking about? Trivia with this film. Secrets and Scandals, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so this, like I said... the reason, too, why critics love this movie is because it was Ozu's last film that he did, like I said. And I think, critics love... I'm noticing this a lot. Critics love a famous director's last movie most of the time. They always say in their review, this is a bittersweet send-off from the director who didn't know he was going to die. It's like, it's not always the case with movies. I don't know if that's always the appropriate thing to say, but that's the main reason why they love this film, I think, is because it was his last movie. It is a very, what am I trying to say? I think maybe people like it so much more than I did because maybe they see a little bit of Ozu and Hirayama as a character, They like that a lot. So, yeah. His last movie. There's not a single camera movement in the entire film. This is one of Ozu's traits that he does in his movies. That camera stands still like a rock. Yeah, I was going to say sloth, but sloths move. I mean, how would they eat? They can't. They have to move their mouths when they chew. The original title of this movie translates as The Taste of Mackerel Pike, and that is a fish that is widely eaten in Japan, especially in autumn when it is abundant. Its taste is bitter, if eaten whole as Japanese frequently do for this species, and autumn evokes a world that is changing. Metaphor, change. This movie is about change, and it's set in the autumn. Autumn evokes a world that is changing in Japanese culture. Yeah, I see what they did there. Clever, Ozu. Very clever. Also, yes, this is what I'm saying. In many ways, this is a remake of Ozu's film Late Spring. In both films, the muse, the actor who plays Hirayama, Chishu Ryu, he plays a widower trying to persuade his adult daughter to get married. Yeah, they're very similar. But again, I don't really remember Late Spring. I do want to watch that. I do. I just, again, need to understand, though, that I have to be wide awake, and I have to be pinned to my TV, and I have to, not look at my phone, and do my best to not get bored and be in the mood. I really, really do. And you know what? I do think I will be a little bit more moved emotionally by that film than this film, because I think that film very much... That movie is much more of a father-daughter film than this is. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, you Faye. Okay, anyway, let's continue. The best moment. I'm a little frazzled right now because I just looked at the time and I have to go to the specific market today to get bulgur because I'm making this really sweet, delicious-looking Mizrahi Jewish, Iranian recipe next week, and I just realized that they're not open tomorrow, so I have to go today, but it's already the end of the day, and... Fuck! Okay, the best moment in this movie. The end of this movie is very, very moving. The way it ends with Hirayama, you can just... There's no close-up or anything, but you can tell that Hirayama is drunk and crying because his beloved daughter is now no longer living with him and is married, and... It's sad. It's a sweet moment. It's very, very well done. The music is very well done. The actor Ryu's, expressions and everything. And yeah, just when he says alone, he's not Canadian, by the way. I sound Canadian when I say that, but yeah, it's a sad part. Yeah, people change. Things change. People get married. Your daughter moves on. Your son moves on. Life gets worse! Mais est-ce que je suis d'accord avec les critiques de ce film? Critics ate this movie up and continue to... Yes, they do. So Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times, he loved this movie. He said, from time to time, I return to Ozu feeling a need to be calmed and restored. He is a man with a profound understanding of human nature, about which he makes no dramatic statements. We are here. We hope to be happy. We want to do well. We are locked within our aloneness, excuse me, I never use that word. Aloneness. Life goes on. Yeah, it's true. like I said, this is a very calming film. There's no drama ever in this movie, and I don't think in any of Ozu's films. Dave Kerr of Chicago Reader said, stylistically, it's one of Ozu's purest, most elemental works. No camera movement, very little movement within the frames, and hardly any apparent narrative progression. Yes, no camera movement, I agree. And I do also agree that there doesn't... I think that's the other thing. This plot doesn't really seem to go anywhere because it's a character drama, you know? Character dramas, character studies, they don't need to have a full-on beginning, middle, and end, you know? So, that's fine. It's not in the rule book that, it's art. It's not in the rule book that every work of art needs to have a full-on narrative. When I say full-on narrative, I mean beginning, middle, and end, you know. Kate Muir of Times UK said an autumn afternoon is as exquisite and delicate as Ozu's other works, but has the added poignancy of being his last film. That's what I was saying earlier. People love that this was his last film. They said it was a great send-off. Tara Brady of Irish Times says Yasujirō Ozu didn't know that this unbearably poignant 1962 drama would be his final film. But An Autumn Afternoon is as fitting a swan song as ever there was. I don't know what swan song means, but anyway. Richard Brody of New Yorker said, the fatal bargain of old age has rarely been observed as sharply as in Yasujiro's last film. Yeah, I think that's also what stuck with me a lot about this movie, is it makes me not want to get old, because it doesn't really have a good, outlook on growing up. I mean, it doesn't. It's sad. The film I mentioned earlier, Ikiru, is kind of the same thing. It's about how getting old blows. I don't know how else to say it, but it blows. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. But at least I don't have kids. Is it really one of the best movies of all time? I don't know yet. I am going to say no. Very well-made movie. Not really for me. Have to be in the right, the right mood to watch it, definitely. I don't think it's one of the best. I may change my mind, though. We shall see. I think, again, once I've seen other Ozu films, it's better for me to compare and contrast and see if this is better than Late Spring or whatnot. But no, not really one of my favorites, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch it. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. Ozu is... You're going to hear his name a lot. You're going to hear Akira Kurosawa a lot. And this is a good... sorry, my lips just made it like a noise. I hope the mic probably caught that. But yeah, give him a chance. Try Ozu out. Try him out. That is not a very good way to describe a director, but you know what I mean. This is available currently on the Criterion Channel. A lot of the movies that I review are. Get the Criterion Channel, you guys. It is so amazing. It has changed my life for the better. On that note, I will see you next time. I will end by saying, get your ass off the couch and go to the goddamn movies, okay? Just do it. I don't care if you don't have a car. Uber, taxi, hello, just do that. Okay, and if you don't have enough money, then hop out of the car and just run in and spend the money there at the movies. Or, be really good and bring the Uber driver into the movie with you, okay? That's a good date. Everybody goes on dates to the movies, okay? Just do it. Come on, go to the movies. Go to the movies now. Ow! Do it. Bye-bye. Oh, you made it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here. New episodes drop Tuesdays and Fridays. You can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at I'm Reviewing Here. You can also subscribe on YouTube. New episodes drop there the same day they drop on the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a review if you'd like. Be mean, be nice, hit on me. I don't really care. Candor really, really is important to me, and, it helps the podcast, too. So I really hope you enjoyed it. This podcast is brought to you especially by Nervous Chuckles. That is my fake production company, because I make people nervously chuckle all the time, because they never know if I'm telling a joke or not, so they're always like, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? Is he serious? Is he insane? Did he get out of the loony? What's going on? So if I made you nervously chuckle, then that means that I did my job, and thank you. There is no funding for this podcast, but if you want to give me money, then, hit me up. DM me. Bye-bye.